Imagine waking up one morning, and everything feels wrong. Not just off, fundamentally, terrifyingly wrong. Your own reflection in the mirror looks like a stranger. Your childhood home suddenly feels like a place you've never been. Your name, spoken aloud, sounds alien on your tongue. This isn't a nightmare. This is Jamais vu. The chilling opposite of déjà vu, and for some people, it strikes without warning, turning the familiar world into a house of horrors. Scientists still can't fully explain why it happens, or how to stop it. Most of us know déjà vu, that eerie feeling that you've lived a moment before. It's common, almost comforting in its familiarity, but jamais vu is its dark twin. The word means never seen in French, and it describes the sudden, horrifying sensation that something utterly familiar has become completely strange and unrecognizable. Reports date back over a century, but modern cases are even more unsettling. In one documented experiment from recent years, researchers asked volunteers to repeat a single ordinary word, like the, out loud, over and over, for just a few minutes. At first, nothing. Then, slowly, the word began to lose all meaning. It twisted into nonsense syllables, then morphed into something alien and threatening. Some participants panicked, convinced the word was no longer English, or even human. They described a creeping dread, as if reality itself was unraveling. One volunteer said it felt like the fabric of language had torn open, revealing something empty and cold underneath. Real-life stories are even stranger. A woman in her 30s suddenly looked at her husband's face and felt pure terror. She recognized his features, yet he seemed like an imposter wearing a perfect mask. She knew logically it was him, but her brain screamed, stranger danger. This wasn't Capra's delusion, where someone believes loved ones have been replaced. It was pure jamais vu. The emotional recognition failed, leaving only cold, mechanical familiarity. She described nights lying awake, staring at her own hands, wondering if they belonged to her at all. Another case, a man driving his usual route home suddenly felt the road, the trees, the skyline become utterly foreign. He pulled over, heart racing, convinced he'd been transported to a parallel world. The GPS worked. The street signs were correct. Yet everything felt wrong. Like stepping into a photograph of his life taken by someone else. What makes this psychological horror so disturbing? It attacks the core of who we are. Our brains rely on quick, automatic recognition to navigate the world safely. When that system glitches, even for seconds, it triggers primal fear. The world becomes unpredictable, threatening, and the scariest part, no one knows exactly why it happens to some people and not others. Neuroscientists have theories, but no definitive answer. Some link it to fatigue in the brain's semantic processing areas, the regions that assign meaning to familiar things. When overworked, from repetition, stress, or sleep deprivation, these circuits reset, stripping away emotional context. Others point to temporary disruptions in the temporal lobe, similar to what happens in epilepsy or migraines. But even advanced brain scans in 2025-2026 haven't cracked the full mechanism. Jamais vu remains one of the mind's unsolved enigmas, a quiet reminder that our perception of reality is fragile, held together by invisible threads that can snap without warning. The implication is chilling. Your sense of normal isn't as solid as you think. A single glitch can turn home into horror. But here's the good news, and some practical tips to protect yourself. Recognize the triggers early. Jamais vu often hits during monotony, exhaustion, or high stress. If something familiar starts feeling off, pause and ground yourself. Touch an object, name what you see aloud, or switch tasks. This interrupts the loop. Avoid forced repetition. Experiments show repeating words or staring at familiar images can induce it. If you feel the edges of unreality creeping in, stop and change your environment immediately. Build resilience with mindfulness. Regular practices like meditation strengthen the brain's ability to maintain context and meaning, making glitches less likely or less intense. Seek help if it persists. Rare but severe cases can signal underlying issues like anxiety, migraines, or neurological conditions. Don't ignore recurring episodes. In the end, Jamais vu isn't just a curiosity. It's a warning from your mind. Pay attention. Reality is more delicate than it seems. What about you? Have you ever felt something utterly familiar turn strange?